Hey everyone, so in case if you guys don't know, I am a huge Ben 10 fan. And so I decided to do all 10 of Ben 10's original aliens, but with all their powers as noted in Season 1. I'm going to do the same thing with the villains in a 2-part episode, and I am also going to be doing it with their heroes, allies, neutral characters too. But this is all for Season 1, and then I'm going to go to Season 2, and it's going to continue like that for a little bit. So today, I am going to do the original 10 aliens. Off screen, I have the first lines already out, but due to copyright laws, I am not going to be showing the clips, because I don't want to get any videos taken down. But let me just go over some rules. First off, they have to be actually in the episode, not the theme song. The theme song does not count for any appearances. Okay? That is a rule. And for first lines, it's whenever, there's a break in between. Okay? And that doesn't include music, as you're gonna hear with Heatblast's first line. So, our first alien up is Heatblast. That's an image of him right there. So he's a pirate knight who first appeared and then there were 10, where he accidentally made and put out forest fire. And as for his first line, here it is. Just give it a second. Sorry, this is just an ad. But as you can tell, he has honestly one of the best first lines of all the aliens. But then again, this is like Ben 10's first alien, so here we go. So that was Heatblast's first line. As you can tell, it was Ben 10's very first alien. So yeah, he had some interesting experiences. So some other appearances he made was in the very next episode, Washington, B.C., where he saved the family from a burning building that was literally burning down via his flame transport, and he found out about the Golden Sumer Slammer card, which is his favorite series, and how to get it, leading to Grey Matter's first line. And then he appeared in Tourist Trap, where he beat the megawatts by the dam as the planetary observatory, and then once they finally came out, he trapped them in a glass bowl, which became the world's biggest light bulb. Talk about a tourist trap. In Kevin 11, he battled Kevin on the railroad tracks, but lost. Lost. With Kevin running away. Hold up. So, yeah, in Kevin 11, he battled Kevin on the railroad tracks and lost. Though he managed to redirect the trains, so pretty much Kevin 11's strategy during that time was to collide a money train with a passenger train, therefore gaining him a lot of money. But Heatblast, so he lost, managed to redirect the trains by melting the switch, controlling them, and then create a cyclone transport to get on top of the train and hung on before timing out and landed on the rust bucket on it. Then he again made an appearance in the episode The Alliance, in which he prevented a landslide that he made worse by lighting the rocks on fire, from hitting the hospital by melting ambulances, and then he battled Rojo while trying to... Sorry, my phone's been ringing off the hook, but yeah. In The Alliance, he prevented a landslide from hitting the hospital, which he made worse by lighting the rocks on fire, and melted the ambulances, creating a ramp, which accidentally led to construction workers. And while battling Rojo, he managed to blast the bridge, causing all the rocks to fall into the water. And then after battling Rojo for a little bit, he managed to trick her to land it onto oil and lit that on fire, blasting her away. In side effects, he battled and beat Clancy at a nuclear reactor plant in his sick form, which you'll see later, and froze him in his cockroach suit. And then in his final appearance, his Secrets, he battled Vilgax and managed to keep him off but timed out, and got saved by the rocks bucket. So pretty much he battled Vilgax and was actually winning for a little bit, managed to beat the net by melting the chains. But after a while he timed out, and then he was seen or indicated a second time escaping Vilgax's ship from blowing up. Poor Vilgax. So the powers he can do is he can make and shoot fireballs from his hands. He can also shoot a single jet of fire and direct it wherever he wants. And he can also walk in fire. He has been shown to be somewhat strong, and he can remove flames from an area. He can produce a ton of flames to a transport, that's the cyclone thing that I've been talking about. He can also surf on flames. He can produce a giant fireball by closing his hands together and slowly taking them apart, forming a giant fireball. He can melt certain products like metal and glass. He can light himself on fire, making his attack stronger or as a means of getting people off him. When sick, that's a picture of when he's sick. You can't really tell, but he's blue in color. When sick, he has ice powers, pretty much the same thing, only he can... everything's ice, so he can still transport via ice by an ice slide. He can also shoot ice at him. And he's the only one shown to actually have benefits when sick. His cyclone flames can also damage nearby enemies, and he can blast off a heat explosion like a rocket. But he does have a few notable weaknesses. One of them being, well, being made of living fire. He could be put out briefly by a water or fire extinguisher. Probably should have included an image of him out. He also has made fires worse, however Ben has learned to control this power. And he has not mastered the skill of surfing on flames, but has mastered it by the end of Secrets. So really the only notable weakness on taking him out is get water. Just get water. The next alien that was introduced is an alien called Wild Mutt. So he is a Vulpamancer who first appeared, and then there were 10 where he messed around with Gwen by the rust bucket, getting used to the feel of the alien. Really toyed with her much. Watch the episode and see what I mean. And since he cannot really speak, he has no first line. However, later on in Ultimate Alien, his ultimate form can speak. So, other appearances. He made a few other appearances. He made 5 other appearances. So, his first other appearance is in Permanent Retirement, where he led Gwen down a series of tunnels underneath the retirement home and battled a Limax Grandpa Max before leading Gwen through another series of tunnels under the community, all the way to the Limax ship before timing out. In Last Laugh, he battled and beat the Circus Freaks, who were robbing the place outside, before Zombozo came in burst of confetti and whimpered behind a tower that eventually came crashing down on him. He timed out, and Ben was knocked out for a little bit until the circus was over. In Lucky Girl, he attempted to save some construction workers, but unfortunately was thwarted by Lucky Girl after she accidentally dumped him in wet cement by a series of unlucky moves in his case. In side effects, he attempted to beat Clancy, but since he couldn't see, failed. I'll tell you about that later. And in Secrets, he only appeared briefly twice in Secrets. Once when the Omnitrix was on the Fritz and Vilgax's ship, where he cycled through some of Ben's aliens. And the second time where he was faced with a choice, either them or him, and he chose himself rather than Grandpa Max and Gwen, and he timed out. So his powers, via those gills that you see on his face, those lines, he can see, meaning that he can sense movement. He has been shown to be quite agile, and he has also sharp claws that can rip through things. He is very strong and has a strong bite and has a powerful charge. Two notable weaknesses is that he's the only alien that cannot speak English. However, Gwen and I think Grandpa Max also has grown used to it and can understand him, or at least what he's trying to say. And when sick, that's an image of when sick, so you can see that those gills right there are blocked off with all the mucus. And he also has a green outline around his lips. When sick, he cannot see since mucus clogged his gills or his nose, which means he cannot really see well. Alright. So the next alien number 3, is Diamondhead, who is a Petrosapien and who first appeared, and then there were 10, where he battled the Mother Droid and won in the battle. And his very first line is this.
This guy do. I don't know, but I bet it's gonna be cool.
That was his first line. So he only made 5 other appearances. So he appeared in Hunted 2 times, where he practiced on a homemade training course, which he absolutely sucked at. And he also battled 6-6 and Crab in the mine, though he lost and had to be taken away by Tetrax, and was saved by Tetrax, who he fought briefly, and also lost. And he appeared in Secrets 3 times, once at the beginning where he succeeded in nabbing some crooks who were going away in an armored van. He also appeared when the watch was on the Fritz, and Ben cycles through some aliens. And he also battled Vilgax on Mount Rushmore, but Vilgax shattered him and his diamonds, but he shapeshifted to Ghostfreak. So his powers is that he can form knives from his hands right here. He can form knives, which that crook really did not like at all. He can also form crystals from his back. Well, actually grow them. His crystals has been shown to be sharp, as he can cut through metal. And due to the fact that he is a walking crystal, he can reflect the lasers back. He's also able to shoot shards of crystal and form a protective shield, but that was shown by Tetrax, not really by Diamondhead. And he can also form crystals out of the ground. But unfortunately, he can be shattered with enough force, as shown by Vilgax. So the final alien that was introduced in the very first episode, and then there were 10, is this one here. Accelerate, but it's spelled XLR8. So he's a Kinesiolarian who first appeared and then there were 10 where he hung Cash and JT by their underwear, so on a tree, so pretty much a major version of a wedgie. and he also packed up the tent to demonstrate his powers. His very first line is this.
Yep. Hey, check this out.
Is that. He also appeared in, again, 5 other episodes, so his second appearance was in The Kraken, where he saved multiple people from the Kraken after the dock collapsed under the Kraken's weight. In Kevin 11, he helped Kevin beat up some street bullies in an arcade. Pretty self-explanatory there. In The Alliance, he fought Rojo at the police academy before saving Gwen, who snuck on in an ambulance and timed out later in an alley. In Lucky Girl, he fought and beat Hex at the museum, who wanted to see the Arcamata, Book of Spells, where he knocked the Lucky Charm loose, later giving that to Gwen, becoming Lucky Girl. And his secrets, he was again one of the aliens that Ben cycled through when the Watch was on the fritz, and he also battled Philgax on Mount Mushmore before being knocked into a head and shapeshift into Diamondhead. So his main power is that he has super speed, and he also has an helmet which can help him go underwater. He can walk and / run on water. He can create water cyclones and regular dust cyclones as well. He has a very fast kicks. He can create a dust storm, and he can slow down his fall speed by just running to the ground. But he doesn't have really any main weaknesses. He can't breathe underwater, that's typical. He can easily be caught off guard, and his tail can be used to fling him elsewhere. And as shown by Hex, he can be blinded. Okay? So that was the final alien that was introduced in the very first episode. In the second episode, you got a few aliens that were first introduced. Again, 3. Well, I had everything right, but they like restarting it. So, the next alien that was introduced is Ben 10's tiniest alien. No, wait, sorry. Not the tiniest alien. Well, the tiniest alien in the original Ben 10. Gray Matter, who is a Galvan who first appeared in Washington, D.C., where he skimmed through some cereal boxes looking for a gold Sumo Slammer card, which is the rarest one. His very first line is,
Oh man, another red card. Gotcha.
not the gotcha part, the other part. So he also appeared in Hunted, where he took down Crab and 6-6 by yanking out some of their important wires, causing 6-6 jetpack to go haywire and cause Crab to malfunction. In a small problem, he was the only alien to be featured, where he snuck out Waterside before being captured by Harold. And after a brief skirmish in his house, sort of like a game of cat and mouse, he was captured by the Forever Knights and was planning and later got taken to a dissecting room before Harold intervened and saved him from a living dissection. And after landing in the artifacts room, he managed to hook up 2 alien tech pieces, I can never remember their names, to another tech part, causing the castle to blow up. And naturally, that's when he timed out. And his secrets, he managed to take out a droid on Philgax's ship before shapeshifting to Upgrade, being the most underutilized alien in secrets. So, due to the fact that he's small, he can fit in small places. He's also Ben 10's most intelligent alien, and he can breathe underwater for a brief time. He has a high jump and is pretty strong for his size, considering that he was able to lift a phone, as seen in a small problem, with relative ease. He does have a strong bite, and he's able to stick to surfaces since he is pretty sticky. And of course, this small stature can be problematic when faced with some of his bigger foes. And his intelligence can be confusing for some people who don't know what he's saying. Even Ben doesn't even know what he's saying sometimes. The second alien to be introduced in Washington, D.C., the second episode, is this guy right here. Forearms. such a relative easy name. And sorry for this arm cut off. He does have another arm. It just got cut off. So he's a Tetraman who first appeared in Washington, D.C., where he battled the mutant woolly mammoth and succeeded knocking him out near the door. His very first line is,
This is a Surface Laptop 2, and this... Let's wrestle.
so that was his very first line. So, other appearances, he made the most reappearances of the original 10 in Season 1, where his second appearance was in the Kraken, where he toured with Glenn before pretending to be Swamp Thing, before getting in a battle with the Kraken and losing. In Tourist Trap, he played around with the big rubber band ball, so long as people mind the signs. Forearm didn't mind the signs, before he accidentally dropped it, unleashing the megawatts when he timed out. In Kevin 11, he battled Kevin before and after his mutated forearm state, and he timed out. Then he timed out, losing. In the Alliance, he fought Rojo before she merged with the droid and saved Gwen and Grandpa from the battle after Grandpa got injured, so he got knocked on the head by cement, causing him to lose consciousness. In Lucky Girl, he fought hacks inside and outside the haunted house, and he also fought off some gargoyles as well. In Side Effects, he fought Clancy at his home and sort of succeeded, as after he literally got ants in his pants, thanks to Clancy, he bounced around, which tore the building down. And in Secrets, he destroyed the machine that was keeping him hostage, so he was the last thing to be featured on the Omnitrix Going Haywire. And he tried taking out Jones. He was about to punch him, but then turned into Ghostfreak. So he is super strong and has the ability to jump super high and has a super slam attack that creates a mini earthquake. He is pretty durable as he's able to take laser hits at nearly point blank range. And with his strength and bulk, he can sometimes burst through some restraints. But his weakness is that he can't breathe underwater. He can't fit in tight spots like the rest, but I get clearly by his size. And there is a limit to his strength that's pointed out in Lucky Girl, where he had trouble holding up a balcony with, I think, about 4 people on it, excluding Lucky Girl. And when sick, he is way weaker and paler, and he gets hives under his arms. Okay? So the final alien to be introduced is... So the final alien to be introduced in Washington, D.C. is Ben's more interesting form of Stinkfly, who is a Leptotarian who first appeared in Washington, D.C., where he saved Gwen from the mutant parakeet after she was trapped on top of the Washington Monument. And he also battled Dr. Animo. And won after destroying the transmodulator and destroying that, reverting his mutant T-Rex into a pile of bones. And yeah, bye-bye, Dr. Animo. And his very first line is the shortest first line ever. Just give it a sec. That's it. That gotcha part. So, other appearances is that he appeared in the Kraken, where he battled Jonah and lost since his wings got wet. But he did manage to save Captain Shaw from drowning. In Tourist Trap, Ben sort of cheated and changed into him, winning in a face contest with the car next door, and saved a truck driver from a burning vehicle. And in Kevin 11, he helped Kevin escape the warehouse and the secret agents before timing out and escaped from the agents, because they hacked into a warehouse that they shouldn't have been in for a Sumo Slammer game. And in secrets, he took out drones and tried taking out Vilgax, but failed. And timed out thanks to a secret Vilgax knows and was taken hostage. So clearly by his wings he can fly. He can also show a single spray of goo from his eyes. He has a sharp tail. He has 360 vision, which enables him to look behind him. He can shoot goo out of his mouth, which can act as a rope after he sucks it up. That is the most disgusting power ever. He is somewhat strong as he was able to lift Captain Shaw. And he can make a goo ball that can clog machines. His weakness, one weakness that I noticed that no one's been noting is that, as shown in Washington, D.C., his eyes do work individually, meaning that he can't sometimes he can't focus on one object. And much like other insects, he can't fly when his wings are wet. Sorry this video may go over my 30-minute personal 30-minute mark, but I want to get all 10 aliens. So the only alien to be introduced in the episode The Kraken is this alien right here. And his name is Ripjaws, who is a Piscicus Volan, who first appeared in The Kraken, where he battled Jonah in the climax of the episode, and he also battled the Kraken in an attempt to return the eggs to the nest. His very first line is this. Give it a second. That was his very first line. He was the most underutilized alien, who only made 2 other appearances, where his second appearance was in Last Laugh, where he battled some crooks on a dock who knocked over a yacht that was unintentionally rhyming, and managed to get one underwater who actually did not make a reappearance, so I am very terrified for what happened to him, as only one was arrested at the end of that scene. And he nearly died from dehydration after the crook surrounded him in fire, but he punched a hole in the dock and caught them both, and caught the one in his mouth, and that one was arrested. The other one, poor guy. So he is able to breathe underwater and is very fast when underwater and able to shoot out of the water in sort of like the Cyclone fashion. He's able to bite through metal and has a huge mouth as shown here, as he was able to carry both eggs in the mouth in his very first appearance. He also has a very strong punch and he can turn his legs to a tail when underwater. See, he has a loincloth and his legs, and that turns to this tail here. But unfortunately, he can as with any fish, he can suffer from dehydration if out of the water for too long. 2 aliens left. Final 2 aliens were introduced in the episode Permanent Retirement, and the first one was Upgrade, who is a galvanic mechamorph where he took out crooks outside of an ice cream parlor. His very first line is, "Your cash request has been denied." And he also made some other appearances. In Tourist Trap, he attempted to defeat the Megawatts, but failed, accidentally launching a lot of rubber bands everywhere. In the Alliance, he merged with Rojo twice to attempt to get the drone out, and was able to remove the droid the second time, but he did meet Vilgax in her head. In Last Laugh, he battled and beat the Circus Freaks as a ball launcher, and was about to enter the Big Top, but he timed out. In Side Effects, he chased down a thief as a motorcycle and managed to catch him after blasting his trunk full of money. And after pulling over, he stopped in an ice cream delivery truck to snack, and before Gwen and Grandpa Max found Ben timed out with a summer cold. Sucks to be him. And in secrets, he hacked into Gwen's laptop before Max yelled at him and timed out. And he later took out drones in Vilgax's ship by being an upgrade version of one. And when he saw Grandpa Max in trouble, he jumped out of the ship with Vilgax and shapeshifted to Ripjaws. So powers, he can merge with any type of tech, including vehicles, improving or destroying it. And Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Ripjaws also made another appearance in Secrets where he nearly died from dehydration on Mount Rushmore, but shapeshifted to accelerate in time. So he can merge with any type of tech, including vehicles, improving and destroying it. Sometimes he can create weapons out of it and control it as well. He has shown to be strong and can shoot a laser beam out of his eye, including when he merges with tech. And he can make himself a parachute and can read online files when hacked into a computer. But he is vulnerable to electricity since he is made out of metal. The final alien is Ghostfreak, who is an ectoneri who first appeared in Permanent Retirement, where he snuck out of Amvira's house to snoop around the community, with his very first line being, and he also made an appearance in Hunted, where he scared Gwen before battling with Crab and losing. He also snuck into an exclusive Sumo Slamers exhibition in Kevin 11 and was caught when the Omnitrix timed out. He fought and beat Sambozo in Last Lap, which scaring him to explode into confetti. And his secrets, he attempted to beat drones but failed, and shapeshifted to gray matter and escaped from Vilgax on Mount Rushmore, before flying over to erect Rust Bucket and seeing Gwen and Grandpa Max being held hostage by Vilgax and shapeshifted into Wildman. So, being a ghost, he can become invisible and fly through objects. Oh, he can fly too. He can shapeshift from smoke. He can move that eye that you see right there. He has a strong punch, and he can remove his outer layer, which reveals tentacles and indicated claws. And no one can physically punch him as shown in Secrets. His weakness is Ben admitted that he's scared to use him since he feels he is not in control. And if sprayed with an orange goo, as seen by Crab, he is able to become visible and can't turn invisible. Thank you guys for watching this very, very long video. I'll join it next time. And like, subscribe, and I'll get the second part out as soon as I can. See you guys next time.